My coworker Peter pulled up to work in a Porsche Cayenne on a Tuesday morning. Brand new.
Shiny.
The kind of car that makes people stop and look in the parking lot. That same afternoon, he tapped me on the shoulder at lunch and said he forgot his wallet. Could I cover him? Just this once. That was the third time that month. And I remember standing there holding both our lunch trays thinking, something does not add up here. Peter wasn't rich. Peter was acting rich. And there is a massive difference between those two things. The scary part? Once I figured out the difference, I started seeing it everywhere. In my coworkers, in my friends, in people I had looked up to for years. And for a brief, uncomfortable moment, I saw it in myself too. So, here are 12 signs that someone is fake rich. I am not sharing these so you can laugh at people. I am sharing them so you do not become one of them, do not lend money to one of them, and do not copy the lifestyle of someone who is one missed paycheck away from losing everything. And stay until sign 12, because that one is the most dangerous of all, and most people will never even realize they are doing it. Sign number 1, the leased identity. Let me tell you exactly what Peter was doing with that Porsche.
He did not buy it.
He leased it. That means he was paying roughly $1,100 every single month just to drive it. Over a typical 3-year lease, that is $39,600, and at the end of it, he owns nothing. Not the car. Not any part of it. He just hands it back. The bank owned that Porsche. Peter owned the right to be seen in it. Now here is where it gets real. A study by Experian found that people who lease luxury vehicles have, on average, 23% lower net worth than people who buy non-luxury vehicles in the same income bracket.
Think about that.
The guy in the Camry he paid cash for is worth more on paper than the guy returning a leased BMW every 3 years. Leasing a luxury car you cannot afford to buy outright is one of the fastest ways to look wealthy while actually going backwards financially. You are paying top dollar for something that is never yours, loses value the second you drive it, and has to be returned when the lease is up. Peter eventually came back to work in a Kia Telluride. He told everyone he wanted something more practical. Practical.
Right.
Sign number 2, the outfit budget versus the savings account. I want you to think about someone you know who always looks expensive. I have a friend. I will call her Destiny. Every time I see Destiny, she is wearing something new. Designer slides. A name brand bag. Full makeup. She walks into a room and looks like money. I once asked her, genuinely, how her 401k was going. She laughed and said, "Girl, that is future me's problem. Future Destiny is going to have a very bad time." Here is what actually happens with people who are truly wealthy, and I mean people with real, lasting money. They often dress normally. Sometimes even boring. Warren Buffett, who is worth over $100 billion, eats at McDonald's regularly and drove a 2014 Cadillac XTS for years. He did not buy it new.
He bought it used.
The truth is this. When you are early in building wealth, every dollar you spend on looking rich is a dollar you are not using to become rich. If your clothing and accessories budget is bigger than your monthly savings contribution, you have a costume, not a portfolio. The people who end up with real money are usually the ones you would never guess had it. Sign number 3. Always at the hottest restaurant, never has cash. This one is going to feel familiar. I have a friend, let's call him Tyler, who always suggests the most expensive restaurant. Every birthday, every hangout, every we should catch up. Tyler is pushing for the $200 per head spot with the Wagyu beef and the 45-minute wait. And every single time, Tyler forgets his card. Or his phone dies right when the bill comes. Or he Venmo requests you for his half before you have even finished your drink. Tyler has about 4,000 Instagram followers and posts every meal. Tyler also, by his own admission after a very honest conversation, had $340 in his checking account at the time. Here is the math that Tyler is ignoring. The average American spends about $3,639 per year dining out. If Tyler took even half of that, say $1,800 per year, and invested it in a basic index fund returning 8% annually, after 30 years he would have over $220,000 from just cutting his restaurant spending in half. Lifestyle inflation, does not come from one big decision. It comes from 200 small ones, each of which feels reasonable in the moment. The $90 Sunday brunch feels like a treat, but the person quietly skipping it is often the one maxing out their Roth IRA every year. And before we get to sign 4, I want to warn you because sign 4 is one that a lot of people in their 20s and 30s are falling for right now and calling it smart. Sign number 4, the investment that is actually just shopping. Kevin has $14,000 in sneakers. Kevin calls it his portfolio. Kevin has $200 in an actual brokerage account. I confirmed this myself during a conversation where I made the mistake of asking. Kevin once told me he was diversified because he had Jordans and a crypto wallet.
Kevin.
My brother in finance. That is not diversification. That is just two types of things that can lose value very fast. Now, I want to be fair here. Collectibles, sneakers, watches, trading cards, art can technically be investments. Some rare sneakers do appreciate. Some watches hold value. But there are 3 conditions that have to be true for that to work. First, the item has to actually be liquid, meaning you can sell it when you need to. Second, it has to be genuinely appreciating in value over time. Third, it cannot be a substitute for actual investing. For most people buying collectibles, none of these 3 things are true. They are buying things they love, calling it investing, and using that label to feel financially responsible while doing the exact same thing as retail therapy. Kevin's sneakers are not a portfolio. They are a hobby with good branding. Sign number 5, they talk about income. Never net worth. Derek makes $200,000 a year. I know this because Derek tells me roughly every 3 weeks. Sometimes unprompted. Sometimes in response to something that had nothing to do with money. Derek finds a way to get it in there. What Derek does not mention, $180,000 in outstanding car loans across 2 vehicles. $45,000 in credit card debt. $0 in a savings account. And a lifestyle so expensive that if he missed a single paycheck, he would not be able to cover his bills the following month. Derek is not wealthy. Derek is highly paid and completely exposed. Income is how much water flows into the bucket. Net worth is how much water is actually in the bucket. You can have a massive inflow and still have an empty bucket if the holes at the bottom are big enough. Truly wealthy people think in net worth. They ask, what do I own minus what do I owe? That number, assets minus liabilities, is the only number that tells the real story. Derek's real number is actually negative, but his salary sounds impressive, so that is the number he leads with. The formula is simple. Net worth equals assets minus liabilities. Not I make good money, so I must be doing fine. Those are 2 completely different things, and one of them is a lie people tell themselves. Sign number 6, they cannot talk about money without making it a performance. I know someone, let's call her Amber, who is a master at this. Amber once said in a group conversation, "Ugh, I hate that I have to fly business class for work. It just ruins regular economy for me now. I cannot go back." That same evening, Amber asked to split an $8 Uber 4 ways. I am not making this up. $8. For people. $2 each. Amber wanted to make sure she did not pay the full $8. The people I have met who are actually financially secure do not talk about it like this. They are not secretive.
They are just not bothered.
They do not need you to know. Their bank account already confirmed what they needed to know. When someone keeps finding ways to insert their financial life into conversations, the trip, the upgrade, I just bought, that is almost always performance, not fact. Real money is usually quiet in person. Loud money is usually broke. Sign number 7, they're allergic to long-term thinking. Jerome's entire financial philosophy is 4 words. You only live once. Jerome is 29. Jerome has told me multiple times that he probably will not live past 50, so what is the point of saving for retirement? Jerome spends accordingly. Jerome is going to live to 79. I have looked at the actuarial tables. Jerome is a healthy, non-smoking 29-year-old male. He is almost certainly going to make it to retirement. And when he gets there, having saved nothing, it is going to be a very difficult situation. This is called hyperbolic discounting. It is a real psychological pattern where the brain puts much higher value on rewards right now compared to the same rewards in the future. $100 today feels worth more than $100 next year, even though it is the same $100. This is why buying something today feels so much more real than watching a compound interest chart grow. But here is what Jerome is missing. If he invested just $300 a month starting at age 29 at a conservative 7% annual return, he would have over $850,000 by age 70. That is from $300 a month. Not a huge salary. Not a lucky investment.
Just consistency over time.
Compound interest does not care about Jerome's philosophy. It rewards whoever shows up consistently and punishes everyone who waits. Sign number 8. They use credit cards like it is extra income. Simone has 9 credit cards. Simone will tell you that she is hacking the system. She talks about cashback percentages and points multipliers and sign-up bonuses. She has spreadsheets. She has a whole strategy. Simone is also carrying a balance on most of those cards at an average APR of around 24%. Last year, Simone earned approximately $180 in cashback rewards. Last year, Simone also paid approximately $2,300 in interest charges. The system did not get hacked. Simone got hacked. Credit card rewards are genuinely valuable under one condition. You pay your full balance every single month without exception. The moment you carry a balance, the interest charges erase every reward you earned, and then keep going. A 24% APR means that a $1,000 balance you carry for a year costs you $240 in interest. No cashback program pays 24%. The actually wealthy people I know use credit cards for convenience, and the rewards are a bonus. They pay the full statement balance on the due date every time. The credit card is a tool. For Simone, it became a trap wearing the costume of a strategy. Now we're moving into Tier 3. These last 4 signs are the ones most people never even notice.
They are harder to see.
And in my opinion, they're the most dangerous. Do not skip these. Sign number 9. They have no financial floor. March 2020. COVID hits. The whole country shuts down. About 3 weeks in, I got a message in our main friend group chat. Someone asking if anyone knew how to apply for emergency unemployment. Then someone else asking about rent deferral programs. Then someone asking if anyone had a contact at their bank about pausing car payments.
Peter was in that chat.
Tyler was in that chat. Destiny was in that chat. And then there was Raymond. Raymond was the quiet one in the group. Did not talk about money much. Drove a used Honda CR-V. Wore regular clothes. Never suggested the expensive restaurant. We honestly did not think much about Raymond's finances either way. What we did not know was that Raymond had 8 months of living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account. Completely untouched. And he had just closed on his second rental property 2 months before the pandemic started. At 31 years old, Raymond was fine. Raymond was more than fine. An emergency fund is not exciting. It does not show up on Instagram. It does not make you look successful at dinner. But it is the single most important financial structure you can have, because without it, any unexpected expense becomes a crisis. A job loss becomes a disaster. A medical bill becomes debt that takes years to pay off. The target is 3 to 6 months of your total living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account. Not invested in stocks. Not tied up somewhere. Just available, waiting, boring, and essential. Peter did not have a single month saved. He had a Porsche. Sign number 10. They optimize for looking successful instead of being it. I want you to picture someone's home office. Ring light. Professional microphone. Standing desk. Cable management, so clean it looks like an Apple store. An aesthetic bookshelf behind them with carefully placed items. A second monitor. A plant. The whole setup photographs perfectly. The job does not require video calls. I know someone who spent just over $4,000 putting together this exact setup. Not because their work required it. Because it looked like the kind of workspace a successful person would have. There is a version of investing in yourself that is real. Buying a course that teaches you a skill you will use. Getting a tool that makes you faster and better at your job. Paying for something that directly improves your earning capacity. That is genuine self-investment, and it is smart. Then there is set dressing. Buying things that create the appearance of ambition and success without actually building either one. The question I now ask before any purchase I frame as self-investment is this: does this make me money? Or does this make me look like I make money? Those are two different questions, and they have two different answers. A $4,000 office setup for a job with no video calls is not an investment. It is a very expensive photo backdrop. Sign number 11. Lifestyle creep has eaten every raise they have ever gotten. This one is personal. I am talking about myself here. Year 3 of my career, I got a $15,000 raise. I remember being genuinely excited. I told myself I was going to be smart about it. Here is what actually happened over the next 12 months. I moved into a nicer apartment that was $300 more per month. I upgraded my car payment that was $180 more per month. I joined a better gym, $60 more per month. I added a few more subscriptions. I started buying better versions of things I already had. I started going to slightly nicer restaurants because I felt like I had earned it. 12 months after that raise, I did the math. I was saving almost the exact same dollar amount per month as before the raise. I had simply upgraded every expense in my life to match my new income. The raise disappeared completely into a more expensive version of my existing lifestyle. I had become my own Peter. This is called lifestyle creep, and it is the reason so many people who earn good salaries end up with very little to show for it after years of working. Every raise, every bonus, every windfall gets absorbed. Not through irresponsibility, through the completely natural human tendency to match your spending to your income. The way to fight it is mechanical, not motivational. Every time your income goes up, immediately automate at least 50% of the increase into savings or investments before you see it. Before your brain decides what to do with it.
Before you get used to having it.
Set the automation first. Spend the rest however you want. I did not do this the first time. I do it every time now. Sign number 12. They confuse their net worth with their self-worth. This is the most dangerous sign on the entire list. And it is the most human one. I saved it for last because I think it explains every single sign that came before it. Peter and the Porsche. Destiny and the designer clothes. Tyler at the expensive restaurant. Amber on the business class flight. All of it comes from the same place. When you make financial decisions based on what other people will think of you, you will always spend more than you should. Not because you are dumb. Not because you do not know better. But because your brain has connected the way you spend money to how valuable you feel as a person. When buying the expensive thing makes you feel worthy and respected, and not buying it makes you feel lesser or behind, you're no longer making financial decisions. You are managing your emotions with your wallet. The truly frightening part is this. The audience you are performing for, your coworkers, your followers, the people at the restaurant, they are not paying your bills. They do not know your actual salary. They will forget what shoes you were wearing by next week. And they are almost certainly dealing with their own version of this exact same thing. The people I have seen build real wealth over time share one trait that took me a long time to notice. They are genuinely unbothered by what their financial choices look like to other people. They drive the less impressive car without embarrassment. They skip the expensive trip without apology. They say, "That's not in my budget right now," and move on without making it a thing. Not because they are humble. Because they have separated the number in their account from the way they feel about themselves. And that separation is what makes every smart financial decision possible. So, where is Peter now? He drives a Honda Accord. Paid off. He still does not have much saved, and I found out recently he still owes his sister $800 from 2022. But here is the interesting thing. Peter seems genuinely happier than he did when he had the Porsche. Not because having less is better, but because he stopped performing. He stopped paying $1,100 a month to maintain an image that was exhausting him financially and mentally. That is the real cost of fake rich that nobody talks about. It is not just the money. It is the stress of keeping the performance going every single month. Here is what I want you to take from this. I was not making this video to make fun of Peter or Tyler or Destiny or any of these people. I made it because at some point, I recognized pieces of all of them in myself. The lifestyle creep. The purchases I justified as investments. The feeling that I needed my life to look a certain way. Real wealth is not what people see when you walk into a room. It is what you have left when everything gets taken away. Before you close this video, pick just one sign from this list.
1.
And ask yourself honestly, is this me right now? If the answer is yes, that is not a reason to feel bad. That is the starting point. That is where it changes. If you want the next step, I have put together a full breakdown in the description of exactly how to start fixing the most common fake rich habits with actual numbers and a simple action plan you can follow this week. If this video made you think, subscribe. And if you have a Peter in your life, share this with them.
You do not even have to say anything.
Just send it. They will understand.